Welcome to the Creators Are Brands podcast. I am your host, Tom Boyd. In this show, we talk to Josh Horton, also known as Jugglin' Josh. He's got 750,000 subscribers on YouTube, 2 million on TikTok. He's known for creating family-friendly content with a focus on world records, trick shots, juggling, and having a whole lot of fun in the process. He's been featured on Ellen, Steve Harvey, and SportsCenter. And in this show, we talk about what platforms he's focusing on and tips for each, how he integrates branded collaborations into his content, how much you should be charging for 100,000 followers on TikTok, why he is his own manager and he handles the business side of being a creator, what the most important part of your TikTok video is and what you need to do in order to be hooking people's attention, and the importance of having a community of creators around you. I was so stoked to have this conversation because Josh not only has the creator side, but the marketing side and the entrepreneur side of being a creator to building a brand online. It was such a great convo. I'm so stoked for you to hear it. Welcome to the show, Josh Horton. Man, I'm excited to have you on. Thanks you create some of the, with all of the filth that's out there in the world, I feel like whenever I come across your content, it's a breath of fresh air. It's just good old fashioned entertainment. And, when everyone's like ranting and raving about everything in the world that's going on, you just seem to be having a good time. At least that's what it looks like.
Having a good time. And I try to keep it light, try to keep it family friendly. I like getting those kind of messages from parents or whatever, because there is a lot of garbage on the internet. And whether or not you like the term influencer, like we do have influence on the next generation, and there's a lot of people I think doing it poorly. So I try to be one of the ones that's doing it for the kids.
Yeah, and talk about the word. It's funny you bring up the word influencer too, because I feel like it has such this like weird connotation that it's like you have to be a half-naked chick on a beach in Turks and Caicos. But sure. I feel like guys like you, I feel like in the last year or so, influencers they have been redefining what that means.
Yeah, it's become. It was for a while. It was like I would never use the term. I don't like using the term. I will always say that creators have influence, but influencers it's kind of been tainted by those by those you mentioned or others. But I do think it's slowly maybe gaining a little bit more respect. I don't know.
Agreed, especially in a world, the name of this podcast is Creators Are Brands, and the whole premise is that it's this relationship that individuals are creating with their audience that everyone wants to be part of, from brands to other influencers. Like, people want that, and that's what storytellers like yourself are so good at. So I want one of the first questions I have is, and this is from I feel like I think you sent this on your you did a screen grab of one of your trick shots that you did. You took a screen grab of your camera roll, and it looked like there was like hundreds of attempts, and it was kind of cool showing like the behind the scenes of doing something.
Yeah. It was 22. I just posted it. It was 22 attempts, 22, not hundreds.
Yeah. So maybe the hundreds was one of mine. But so I'm curious because that's the side of the world. Trick shots, all forms of entertainment, right? Like whether it's me doing a talking head video, I have 22 of those attempts, right? Like everyone's messing up. Like the best actors in the world have to do all these attempts. So I'm curious, like just for fun, what would you say the longest it's taken you? Because some of your trick shot sequences, right?
Yeah.
You do like sequences where it's like 5 back to back to back.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I posted in my story. That's the one you're talking about. Where it's like five totally different trick shots back to back.
Yeah. So total time, start to finish. How long, like from starting that to finish that, of like a real lifetime?
That one really wasn't that long. 22 attempts. It was probably less than 5 minutes. But my longest. There was one that we tried for an hour and a half one day, and then I had to come back the next day because I was too sore. Because it was like a really, 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 really far backwards one while juggling 4 basketballs. And so it was probably 2.5 hours of attempts, which is a lot of attempts. But I don't care about negative comments really at all. But like the constant comment is when I post I post a make, and then the comment is 1,000 tries later, and my response is always, okay, like it wasn't, but let's say it was. I still posted it. You're still commenting. You're still watching it. So it's just kind of a funny thing where it's like, who cares? Why do you care why do you care if it took me 100 attempts? I still made it.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've ever seen. So on my personal Instagram account, I experiment. I do like no, I like nowhere near the type of extent of shots that you do, but I do. It's like it's actually became like a fun practice to me. Like I go to the court and I'm like, it's boring to just shoot regular shots with no one playing defense. So like I'll do like behind the back shots, and it's honestly like once you start doing it, it's pretty. You get there pretty quickly. It's like your muscle memory, like the distance, how far away you are.
Some of it is, that's the other thing is people, and when people come to shoot with us, like for collabs or whatever, they're like, oh my gosh, you guys are actually just really good at this. Like there are some of these shots that we are, like my backwards three-pointer is about as consistent as my forwards three-pointer. And that's not an exaggeration. But I trained for it. I have the Guinness World Record for it. Like it is something I am good at.
You have the Guinness Book World Record for it? Like what is the actual record?
The record is most backwards three-pointers in 60 seconds.
And how many is that?
I think it's 13. Or 14?
Wow.
Yeah, but
dude,
if you go and watch that video is online on my YouTube channel. If you go to that video, I made 1 in the first 30 seconds and then 12 in the second 30 seconds or whatever it was.
You know what's funny? When I was watching your content, I'm a Sixers fan, and I'm not gonna like. Listen, by the time you hear this podcast, Ben Simmons might not be on the team, but he was getting roasted in the play. He was getting roasted in the playoffs, and I was gonna hit you and say like, yo, you should shoot the same amount of attempts that he did from half court behind the back shots that he took from the foul line, and I guarantee you would get a better percentage than him.
Well, we did my like a core game on my channel is trick shot horse, where we play horse, but you get 3 attempts because it's trick shots. But then I've been doing a series called Pick Your NBA Player Trick Shot Horse, where like we have NBA players on a card, and those cards are like power ups or whatever for your trick shot, so or like restraints. So it was like Kyrie has to be a bounce shot because he's the handles master or whatever. But for Ben Simmons, you got 5 attempts because he needed 5 attempts.
That would be funny. He gets like a handicap.
That's like, what we did.
Yeah. Are you a basketball fan?
It's funny because I'm really not.
You're not? Yeah.
Sports are my life, and I love basketball to play, but I'm like, I don't have a team that I ride or die for. And I used to make a living just doing the halftime shows, so people would see me in the world of sports all the time, and then they would start to talk to me about the playoffs or whatever. I'd be like, yeah. But I just didn't know.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, the halftime shows, because I saw that, and I'm curious. And, that was a different world, and I went deep on your YouTube channel. It looks like you were doing that for a while and a long time ago. And my question is, that is a arena where you have to captivate people in real time. You have to keep their attention in real time. Like that's your job. They hire you to come there to do that. And I'm curious, give me little details around like. How you thought about doing that real time, and then how you've taken some of the things you learned in that world and you apply them to the way you create content now.
Interesting. I mean, I don't know if there's too many direct connections, but yeah, halftime shows are tough because you get flown somewhere to perform for 5.5 minutes to people that aren't there to see you.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of pressure, and that's part of the reason that I started to phase it out, because it was a lot of pressure for a few minutes.
I would have anxiety like crazy about that.
Obviously, I got better at it as it went on, but yeah, I used to freak out. So yeah, I mean, you got to go quick. It has to be really good from the jump. Has to be good music. Has to be. It just has to be captivating at the start, or you're going to, because people kind of like make their decision whether they're going to go get a hot dog or stay and watch the halftime show. And if you suck for that first 30 seconds, they're probably going to go get a hot dog or go to the bathroom. It was a thing. Definitely I had to like master over a couple, seasons. But yeah, I don't know if I have a ton of connection between that and my content, but it was a kind of a different thing. But you could make connections. I never did.
Yeah. I mean, there's something intuitively about you, just entertaining. Just keeping eyeballs on you. I think it kind of shows up. Like for me, I find myself storytelling with friends, and I'm like, I pull elements of that from real life conversations and put them into my content, but it's different. The pacing's got to be different. You kind of because people have so many. If they're sitting in front of their computer, they have 100,000 options to click off and go somewhere else.
Exactly.
So and then you had a career in marketing, right? You had you worked in marketing for a little bit. What would you say? Tell me a little bit about that position and how that might be.
That has a much bigger connection.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. Cool. Let's go into that.
Yeah. So when I graduated college, my plan was to be a professional juggler, and I was doing that, but like a successful performer, is only working twice a week or whatever, unless they're doing like birthday parties or whatever, where they can, do a ton of them a week. So I was pretty free, and a friend of the family was starting this social media agency, and I started like part-time with him, and my first job was literally like deleting spam comments off of brand Facebook pages. And then
good times.
Yeah, really good times. And then fast forward 4 years later, and I was like a manager of a team creating branded content. My main client was Sony Pictures. So every movie that came out for Sony Pictures, had their own Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, sometimes Snapchat, and we were creating the content that we were going on these platforms. And I think, that just my entrance to social media, I had no followers then, I was not making videos then, I was doing nothing. So my kind of entrance to social media was trying to figure out a way, how do you get people to participate in a branded post? And then once I've lived that for 4.5 years, it's much easier to get people to engage with a non-branded post. And so I just kind of had a little bit of I'd been trying so hard to figure out the tips and tricks and whatever it was to get people to participate. And then once I started doing it for myself, it was a little bit easier. And like when I quit my job, it was kind of right when Instagram video had launched. So just like having a little bit of a head start on like the simple things, like how do you get an edited video from your computer to your phone for Instagram was kind of mind-blowing back then. And so just being able to like add music and add effects or whatever it was on my Instagram videos kind of got me that head start, got me my first chunk of followers, and then was able to a little bit of a snowball from there.
And then was Instagram your first focus?
Instagram was my first, for sure.
Okay. And so you grew the account there, and now today we're about 4 or 5 years later.
Yep.
What account are you focusing on the most right now?
For the longest time, it's been YouTube. YouTube is the it's just that content just takes so much more effort, and I think the platform of YouTube has the most potential for earning as well as connection with your fans. And so the ups and downs of YouTube are super tough and super frustrating, and it kills me sometimes. And right now, like we're in a low season, so it's tough. But when it's growing, it's great, and that's definitely the platform I focus on the most, put the most energy into. And then, TikTok is another one that's been doing well lately, and brands are finally there as well. So I'm trying to make sure I don't let that one fall behind. It is my most followed, and brands are starting to kind of come hard on TikTok. So I should be putting plenty of effort on TikTok as well.
And then when you approach content for TikTok, are you thinking about it in terms of I'm gonna cut down my longer videos for YouTube, or are you making original shorts, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, it doesn't really work unless I have like some really crazy moment for my YouTube videos. We did that for a while, and I was just having my editor cut down one video a day from our YouTube, and it's just like the moments are different. Our YouTube videos they're longer videos. They're kind of about needing, if something funny happens, it's because us.
It's like an inside joke type thing.
For the most part, yeah. And so it just wasn't hitting on TikTok. And so we've kind of, when we're filming with my friends, we always talk about we're either doing a YouTube video or are we doing other videos. And it's kind of whatever I post on Instagram, I also post on TikTok for the most part. I'm a little bit more liberal what I post on TikTok than Instagram, because TikTok moves so much faster. People don't care as much. But yeah, those two are pretty similar for me.
Okay. Yeah, I saw, I like the way, I was curious because I saw your TikTok and you were doing the one where I think you were holding out like Sour Patch Kids or some sort of candy.
Yeah.
And you were saying like if you go to a friend, you say, if you make this, I'll give you this.
Yeah.
Is that a brand integration, low key, or is that like
I had been doing it not branded.
Yeah.
And so I just had bought candy. Hey, make the shot, win the candy. I'd done several of those. and then Sour Patch Kids hit me up. They didn't necessarily
Organically.
They hit me up to do a branded deal, but they didn't see those. They didn't mention those videos. But
Okay.
but when they hired me, I was like, okay, this is my concept. I already do this, and they said, okay, great. And so I think I did post. Yeah, I posted on Monday. Yeah, I posted that one recently.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's that's right. Yeah, it is perfect. And I like that you're not waiting. You're just saying like, I mean, one, it's just a good concept in general. Everyone likes to get a little candy for making a shot. Like,
Sure.
And as someone that is like scrolling the feed, you got to close the loop. I want to know if your friend makes a shot and gets the candy.
Yeah.
So that's just a really unique way of integrating the brand into the way you already produce your content.
Sure.
How do you approach that for the most part? Like now, is it kind of all on the fly, or when you're working with a brand, are you like how deliberate are you in like how you frame the brand, how you work them into your videos? Is there like a creative session on that? Or are you just the whiz and just can do it on the fly? Like, what does it look like?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every brand is so different, and the requirements are so different. Like, I of course love when Sour Patch Kids was just like, use our brand, use our product. That was it. Like,
that's great.
That's great.
Yeah.
What I don't like is when it's like, oh, use this filter, or we're doing this like silly challenge. Make sure you do this exactly this. It's like, well, I've never done anything like that on my account. Why would I do that? And so that's when it gets tough. And then on certain platforms or certain brands, I'll push back. But if it is what it is, I always try to like speak my mind a little bit, so then when it underperforms, I can just I never like rub it in their face, but I'm like, okay, well here's I feel less bad sending those analytic reports or whatever at the end when I kind of said like, hey, this might not be the best move. And if a lot of times it's an agency that has to, the agency is just hired to bring on the influencers. They had no creative feedback, so it's like, it just is what it is. And so, there's times on, if it's for Instagram or YouTube or whatever it is, where if I'm like, man, I'm really not going to do this. Like, I don't want to, then I'll push back. But if I'm not too worried about it, if I think if the money is worth it, and
send it.
Like, yeah, send it. Like, if it's not, as long as it's not embarrassing or whatever. Like, I'm on TikTok especially, things move so quickly. You can have a flop video and it doesn't matter, right? Like on Instagram, it's kind of a little bit more curated, a little bit more perfect. But for TikTok, where your videos come from people on the For You, I'm not protective of the TikTok account, and that's a place where I'm happy. I don't like the word. I don't like the word sell out, but it's like, yeah, if you want to risk this terrible idea on my account, sure, I'll pay my mortgage on that.
Yeah. Just not the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So how, like, and I'm trying to get to the point where like we're pretty transparent, like not exact numbers at all, like, but like I'm curious on this podcast. I'm trying to share like a little insight about like the direction of where brand deals are going. And you said people are catching up on TikTok. Are they catching up? Like when a brand reaches out, are they offering like the same amount for YouTube and TikTok, or is it still like they favor the engagement on YouTube more than TikTok, so they're still paying more for YouTube?
I would say TikTok prices are finally catching up to where they should be.
Okay.
Which is great. For the longest time, like 1 million followers was getting like legitimate brands, legitimate agencies being like, oh, well, you do this for $500, which just for that is. But the issue with that is there are so many creators on TikTok with 1 million followers, and they don't know what they're doing.
They're saying yes.
So they're saying yes, and so why would they pay me, 10 times that? I'm in a Discord group with some TikTok creators, and there's like people with like, over 1 million, averaging 500,000 views a video, and they're literally like, guys, they just offered $250. Like, should I do this? And I'm like, I'm messaging you separately, and I message them separately. Please stop accepting this. Do not say no. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And it's tough because there's so many people with a lot of followers, a lot of views, but hopefully I think brands are starting to like make sure they go to quality creators who know what they're doing. But there's of course quality creators who just don't know what they're doing, and brands are getting a good deal. So until that discrepancy is out of there, I think the overall the price is still a little low, but I'm starting to get better and better deals every month.
Okay, good. That's amazing, and that's good to hear. And I appreciate the transparency around it. And so it's because it is kind of the wild, wild west. Like no one really knows, and that's why I want to ask on this podcast, because I want aspiring creators that are going to be at that point to be able to ask for what they deserve. So all creators are, let all boats rise.
Yeah. If you're in the hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok, you are charging thousands of dollars per post. $1,000 plus. I'm saying it to camera. None of this $250 stuff. I don't care if you're 100,000. If you're 100,000 followers, you've worked hard for those 100,000 followers. Do not accept less. I mean, but it gets tough when I'm like, I can't speak to other people. If they're hustling their minimum wage job, $1,000 or $900 is a lot. So I don't want to. Don't just clip that and make me seem like a. but
I'll clip the whole thing.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I understand, and I try to have the understanding on both sides. But I will say you are worth more than $1,000. How about that?
Yep. And I think Victoria Paris just said it on the Colin and Samir podcast. She was talking about the idea that like the people that kind of hold out for the brand deal, if it's kind of you're not just taking everything under the sun, you can ask for more. So like it all adds up in the long run. So instead of taking 10 for 100, just take 1 for 1,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, quick math. So how did you get kind of the foundation? Do you work with any management, or are you kind of running this operation on your own?
I've talked with a lot of managers over the years, and it just never made sense to me.
It's just you.
It's just me. My degree was entrepreneurship, so I like the doing it yourself thing, and sometimes that's to my detriment. But I just felt that it's just not worth it for the most part. Maybe someday that deal will come through, but I would rather hire, and I have like a part-time assistant right now.
Okay.
But I would rather move to where I have a full-time staff helping me than manage, because I'm not in a super need of brand deals right now. Obviously, a few managers have some connections, but like when I would speak to managers, I was like, so what kind of increase would I see in your connections? They're like, oh, well, nothing's guaranteed, blah, 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 blah. Like, we just kind of will manage your inbox or whatever. It's like, well, I can do that myself. So I'm not signed with any manager and don't really plan on it.
So your operation right now, it's just you and a part-time assistant? Like any video editing team?
I have a full-time, Andrew edits all of my YouTube videos, helps with Instagram cut-downs and whatnot. And he is also on set helping me every day as well.
Okay. And do you do any editing anymore?
No.
Okay.
No editing.
That's a goal. That's a goal I'm aspiring to get to. Like I edit for it's a means to get the content out there right now.
Sure.
But it's definitely something like I want to start creating more stuff that's a little more elaborate, and in order to do that, I'm gonna have to bring an editor on. I have a guy, a friend, a buddy that is editing the podcast right now, which is a huge come up. So you're running the operation yourself. So you're an entrepreneur at heart and a performer. So like it's like the perfect world, this creator world that you're in. What are some other mistakes that from the business standpoint that young creators might make when they first get their first 100,000 followers and they're trying to navigate the world?
Sure. I mean, I've heard some people talking about like signing exclusive deals. Like that's obviously a really bad one. They were not able to participate in like brand deals, TV shows, all sorts of stuff because of like some weird like clothing brand deal they signed that gave them like $5,000 for the year or whatever. And so it's like, make sure if you don't know what you're doing, hire someone or ask around for someone to look at contracts for you. That's obviously a big one. Trying to think what else. I mean, in my world, like I'm in the world of a lot of people just like creating those like crazy viral moments. And then there's all these big agencies that contact you, and they just say like, hey, can we license this video for you, and maybe we'll make you some money, blah, 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 blah. So it's like I'm not going to name some of the media companies, but there's several of these somewhat predatory places that, long story short, you could see your video, you've signed the rights away, and you might see your video in a Super Bowl commercial, and you don't see $1 of it. And so just like don't sign exclusive rights to your content away either, because that's obviously not good as well.
Yeah, yeah. Would you ever make like any sort of course on the business of being a creator in the future? Is there any,
A
or is it
course?
or is it something that you just can't learn in a course? Is it something that like, yo, you got to go through go through the trenches to actually gain this insight?
Yeah, a course would be interesting. I don't think I'm the guy to do it. I don't know if I've proven myself just yet. But
I mean,
I would, of course, have some tips for people. I think I have more of a short book than I would have a course. I'd have like a pamphlet.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, but the thing is, you've built a successful business off of your content, which
Yeah.
a lot of people are aspiring to
Sure.
learn. I feel like you know at least 50 things more than me, and I feel like that can make up at least a mini course.
There you go. Maybe something. Yeah, maybe a mini course.
All right, cool. I'll keep kind of I'll remind you of that every now and then. So the brand deals, you're doing all the like negotiating yourself too. Like
Yep.
so, if someone reaches out and you're saying nope, it's only this.
And that's something that performing helped me with for sure, because
Okay.
I know this might surprise you, but nobody wants to pay money for a juggler. So, as a performing juggler, I was constantly having to fight for more and more dollars for myself. And so the negotiations are something that I've always been pretty good at, and was just kind of natural for me.
So I've heard this philosophy, and I'm curious where you stand on it. And this is more in like the freelancer world, and I want to know if you have anything similar or this carries over. Someone said if they accept your first price, then you charged too low.
Yeah, that's probably true. Sometimes I would say that's true. 80% of the time.
80%. Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. That's more than 50.
I think some people are if you charge a lot, they might be a little surprised and be like, "Oh, wow, maybe this guy's really worth it."
Yeah.
So they'll
It's like
go
a psychological
get a little,
thing.
Yeah, they'll go get a little bit extra. My big tip that I learned as a performer was to never say the first price. Whoever says the first price is at a disadvantage. So whenever you're negotiating, do whatever you can to get them to say the first price, because they are at a disadvantage, and then you have their cards on the table.
Yeah, you know where they stand.
Yeah.
Now, would you advise towards any sort of hybrid of affiliate meets, like upfront money deal, or do you shy away from anything like that?
I have never done an affiliate deal, and I don't think I would like to unless it's something that's super, super perfect for me.
Okay. Okay, nice.
The general thing being, you could be the best creator in the world, doing the greatest content in the world, and if you're doing an affiliate for something that looks bad, tastes bad, whatever, like that's not your fault, and you don't want your money to be dependent on whatever that product is. You go to their website and they have bad photos or what, I don't know. Obviously there's it works for tons of people, but I don't want my income to be based on a product I have no control over.
Yeah, no, that's a really great point. And like because I kind of come from the background of like the freelancer world, and they talk about that as being more upstream. So you're like you don't have control of what's going on downstream in their company. Like, is their website working? Is the copy good? Is the product good? But you're getting them this exposure that your videos living on YouTube, forever.
Right.
Like you're constantly bringing new leads to their brand, and if their brand's broken, that's not your fault in the long run.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's a good way of looking at it.
I had a mattress company one time tell me they didn't want to pay me anything up front, and it was for the super expensive mattress. And the guy was like, "Josh, if you just convince 3% of your audience to buy a mattress, that's $80,000 for you." And I was like, "I'm not going to risk that. A mattress is something you need once every 10 years or whatever." I just thought it was the silliest request.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that's. The request you probably get, like, let's talk about that. Let's say someone's at 100,000. That's a good number for someone that is like, oh, I just had a couple videos really take off. I'm getting a good following. There could be a business here. At that point, is that person? Are the brand deals coming to them, or should they start tightening up, their pitch deck, their approach on that, and start going out to ideal brands?
I do both. Yeah, I mean, when I was starting out, I was very aggressive with how often I was sending out requests to brands. And it's gotten to a point now where I don't do that a ton unless it's someone who I meet in person or virtually somehow in a more formal way. But yeah, I mean, back in the day, I was just sending Twitter DMs to every verified brand I could find, and DMs on Instagram, finding people on LinkedIn. I was going hard. As soon as I kind of hit that 100K mark, I was going for it for sure, because 100K is a lot of people, but again, especially on TikTok or whatever, like, it's a dime a dozen right now. So you gotta, if you want that stuff, you gotta go for it. And at the same time, I've got friends that are doing brand deals on TikTok at 100,000 because they're aggressive, or they are able to find the right people.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly, I've heard people even lower than that if they have, kind of like a niche audience. There's there's clearly a core audience that is interested, and the brand sees potential in them. The brand's like, okay, we want to get in with this relationship early and build this with this creator.
Totally. My editor Andrew, he does trivia videos on TikTok, and he's been growing a lot. But he signed a really dope deal for like a trivia app. And he was at like under 100, or maybe he had just hit $100,000, and he signed a dope long-term deal with this trivia app company because his trivia videos have been crushing it. That was a perfect example.
That's the perfect example. Everyone is there. That they're the direct audience that they're trying to get.
Even better, same person, Andrew, on his YouTube channel he does escapes, and like he'll do like a straitjacket escape, and also loves escape. He'll do like digital escape rooms. And I think his YouTube channel is like 40,000. Let me double check that. But he got a brand deal with like a digital escape room place, like a good paying.
Yeah. And
it's like perfect. Like, 43,000 subscribers on YouTube. And he's getting brand deals on YouTube because of that niche for sure.
And that's arguably, let's say someone dancing around on TikTok has 1.5 million. That guy's his 40,000 is more valuable than because they're all there for that type of thing.
Agreed.
So you talked about YouTube, and I'm curious, can we talk about some tactical things? It doesn't have to like super tactical, more like high level thinking around like what how you think about creating videos, like what like the story arc, sort of what you're thinking about when you're coming up with video ideas and the execution of YouTube videos to keep people captivated.
Sure. So my channel, I wouldn't call it a if it's a story, it's a very similar story every time, because all of our videos are challenged. They're all sports challenges right now.
Yeah.
Or sports or non-sports challenges, but it is friends competing against each other. That is my channel. And so the longer you've been watching, the more you feel connected to these competitors on my channel. And so there are some like ongoing, I guess, stories or inside jokes or whatever. But for the most part, I'm not like I never consider myself, I'm a storyteller, which I think is very cool on YouTubers that are able to do that. But I don't have I don't have this planned story arc throughout the video, because it's just going to depend on how the challenge goes.
You're right in a sense, but I think I want to maybe I'm trying to think. Like game shows I watch.
Sure.
Anything where people are like, I watch. I love the Survivor competitions, right? Like I love. I love the certain shows where you see people doing the physical competitions, or even shows like it's just like a formatted templated approach. Like each one, like as I'm watching, you set the scene, and it's these four people are going to do this. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the plot, right? Like, so then there's a conflict. Who's going to win? And like you're kind of escalating that as you go. So it's kind of like ingrained into the content. It's not like once upon a time.
Well, it's funny. You'd mentioned Colin and Samir. I was one of the first guests on their podcast back in the day. Yeah, and
I remember that.
They talked about even a 10-second trick shot video has the full story arc of a play. Has the setup, has the build up, has the action, has the celebration. And so that's kind of our videos on a long scale. So we set the stage, and then there's drama that happens, and then there's the finale. And so that's kind of the only things I worry about, explaining the video very, very, very quickly to get people engaged. My intros used to be a minute and a half. Now sometimes my intros are 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then making sure there's a good ending and an ending that is going, we somewhere soon explain kind of what the ending is going to be, so that people will stay and be there for it.
So you kind of like give them a glimpse of the ending beforehand, kind of like
Yeah.
a little foreshadowing
Yeah.
from time to time. Do you now? Yeah. And is there a length of video? Is it like 8 to 10 minutes still on YouTube?
Everything over 10. I'm trying to get ideal situation. Everything would be 20 minutes for me right now. 20. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the number? Is that where YouTube's going?
That's where my channel's going. I don't know about other people. My videos do better when they're longer. And
Okay.
We'll film a video, and I'll be like, yeah, this is like 23 minutes, and then I get the edit, and it's like 12, and I'm like, gosh dang it. But
By the time you cut everything down.
has to be over 10 for sure. Has to be over 10.
So how hands-on are you in the editing process right now? Do you you kind of oversee it, like executive edit it, or just give a couple notes when you kind of have a rhythm down with your editor at this point?
Right now, we're pretty consistent on one round of revisions or none, which is great.
That's great.
Andrew has been doing it for 3 or 4 years, so he knows me, he knows my style, he knows everything, and so typically it's right now just one quick round of notes, unless we're doing something totally different, like I've got some stuff coming up that's going to be a little bit different for the channel, so I'll probably be way more involved then, and there's certain videos just after filming it, I'm like, hey, let's come to my house and let's edit this one kind of together. So there's sometimes where I'm literally over his shoulder and we're figuring it out. He loves that. But for the most part, we've got our system down. He knows my style, and it's very efficient.
Okay, so that leads me to this question. How did that relationship come to be? Because one of the biggest things that holds up creators when they're trying to work with an editor is giving up that creative control of just being able to work with someone else that gets their style. Did he follow your content, and then what was the onboarding period? Was it like a trial period? Some people do like let's see if this works for 3 months sort of deal.
Yep. So I mentioned he does escapes and stuff. He's a magician. He can juggle. He was an early fan of Josh Horton, even kind of before I started on YouTube. So he's been following it since the beginning. He came to one of my halftime shows when I was in Alabama, where he was going to school. When we threw our 100K subscriber party, he flew from. I was living in Texas at the time. He flew just to be part of it. He felt like he had been following since the beginning. He flew out, and I was like, oh man, this guy's into it. I knew he had a YouTube channel, and I think I started to give him like I think he was doing kind of cut downs or something simple for me at first.
Okay.
Like getting stuff ready for Twitter. Like I was trying to get my Twitter going, like cutting down stuff and putting on Twitter. And then we tried the first video, and then slowly. At the time I was, I didn't have a ton of money, so I was doing a lot of the edits myself. So it would be like, I'll try to get this one to Andrew, and then maybe this one, or maybe this month we'll do 3 or 4, and now it's every time. And he graduated about a year ago. I gave him enough of a raise to where he moved out to LA, and now he's
nice.
here. Yeah,
nice.
So it's been a long relationship, which is great.
Yeah, so I think I see that trend is where kind of these collaborative teams come together, and it started with, I was making his thumbnails first, and then they developed the creative relationship. Then I started, uploading them. Then I started doing outreach to brand. It kind of develops organically in that way. But then also, I think it's kind of neat that a lot of creators find their collaborative teams from their own audiences, where their audience is trained to know what their style is. Like that's the best, that's the ideal candidate. They already are bought into who you are and your messaging.
Totally.
So I'm trying to think here. I'm in the more of the, I'd say like educational side of like TikTok, and like, trying to give people insights on just how to uncover their creative strengths, stuff like that. And I'm curious, what could I learn? Like what do I need to know about TikTok in order to really make a splash on thing? Anything that I can steal from the way that you approach TikTok right now that I can inject into my content?
My thing that I think helped from the beginning is that first second. Literally the first second or half a second needs to have, almost always have text that pops up. I think your mind, when you're scrolling, your mind will subconsciously read something. So if there's no text in the first half a second, you're damaging your chance of someone continuing to watch.
Yes.
Even if they have no interest in trick shots, and this comes up, I feel like they're going to read that. They're going to read that first text. So that's something I always try to do. And then something that's worked for me is like gamifying things. And so that, you've seen my mixing up the cups or following the juggling ball.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be an expert. Everyone wants to compete. Everyone wants to voice their opinion. And so if you can find ways to do that in videos, I always tell myself, I don't know why I don't do those mixing up the cups 4 times a week, because they always crush. But doing something, I'll do it too, like which trick shot is better, 1 or 2. And so not only is that getting them engaged in the first second by saying, hey, which trick shot is better? Well, they've already watched the first one by the time they've read that sentence. Well, might as well watch the second one.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you've got a full retention view.
Yeah. So that's the goal. Get someone to watch the entire thing, and that tells TikTok more people might want to watch this entire thing.
Well, better yet is watch it 2 or 3 times, which is how some of those mixing up or
because they want to follow it again.
Comparing the 2 trick shots, they want to make sure. Yeah.
I noticed some people. I don't know if this is actually happening, but in like the educational YouTuber or TikToker world, I'll notice people put typos in their text, and sometimes I think if it's intentional, because you get the people saying, you spell beautiful wrong, you get like automatic engagement from that, and then the people that are cool don't care. Right.
We've talked about that before, where something goes wrong in a video, we're like, well, it's gonna get more comments. Like,
leave it.
We don't really worry about it.
Yeah. There was one that I had like lint in my hair, and I was like, I almost like, if it was like me like 5 years ago, just less confident, I wouldn't have posted. But I was like, no, run it. Let's go.
That's good. Yeah. No, anything that can get a little bit more comments is good for sure.
Yeah. It's like in athletics, like in baseball, they'll do anything to get a little advantage, like put a little more prime time. That's why there's all these rules. And like in the creator world, like any little advantage you can get to get that attention is important. Let's look at. So you've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, like officially, full time as a content creator. What is one thing? Like, what is one thing that you would give yourself starting out a heads up on? Like, what is, like, if you could say, like, hey, as you're uploading that first couple YouTube videos actually around your brand, what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, YouTube in particular, I've learned so much, and I feel like had I done some things sooner would have really skyrocketed my career on YouTube. So here they are. The idea of title and thumbnail is just so, like, it just makes so much sense now. And it's like, it's crazy that back in the day we would be uploading the video, and this is when I'm talking like 100,000 plus subscribers, 200,000 probably, 300,000, like not having my thumbnail until the day of an upload or whatever. And so like now it's just like, we don't even, if I think of a really cool video and I don't have a good thumbnail, like, oh, that's going to be too hard to portray, I'm not going to film that video. So I always have the title and thumbnail before we film the video. I don't necessarily, I haven't taken it, but I at least can visualize the thumbnail in my head.
Yeah.
So that's one we're shooting today. Today we're going, the title thumbnail will be scoring on 100 basketball hoops in 24 hours. So we're going to drive around LA and go to 100 different hoops. And I really like the idea. I really like the video idea. I really like the title. But then for a while we were like, what the heck? How do we, because we can't show tiny little 100 squares. Yeah. That'd be impossible. And then Andrew came up like, what if you're just holding a basketball and then it's a map behind you with little basketball, clip art around the map, and I'm like, hey, there we go. Okay, we can do this video. So having the title and thumbnail before a video is essential. The other thing, especially for YouTube, and I think this definitely applies to TikTok, so many times I've said to myself, I've missed the trend. It's over. I'm too late. No point in filming this. And then the trend continues for another month and a half, and you're just like, oh, but you kind of already, the biggest one for me, it's such a silly thing. The biggest mistake of my entire career as a sports trick shot creator is not doing bottle flipping videos. I was just like, I'd been doing bottle flipping before there was bottle flipping videos.
Yeah.
I was very good at it. I ended up doing world records for bottle flipping, and I won a bottle flipping world championships at SkillCon. Like, I'm very good at it. But the whole time I saw it on YouTube, I was like, it's about to die. This is stupid. It's about to die. I'm more talented than this. Whatever. And I did it. You can go back and find a few bottle flipping videos, but I was way after the trend. I was way too late, and I hate myself for that one because I could have really crushed it. So many big channels got big because of bottle flipping. My friends, That's Amazing blew up. Team Edge is a very successful 7 million. Like they really hit their stride during the bottle flipping era. They really leaned into it. And so something we're doing now is like when we see a video that's it's a trend or something that I can duplicate, but making it my own, try to do it ASAP, edit it ASAP, put whatever videos you had ready to the side and get on it as soon as you can.
I think that's smart. That's good. And honestly, for me, it kind of I can relate to it in a different sense than I think a lot of other people can. I think like part of us as like creators, we want to like, no, I want to be super original. They're all doing that. I don't need to participate. It's going to end, don't worry. And like, for me, I'm like, I'm not, but like you got to lean into that stuff in order to be able to give your original stuff to more people, have the opportunity to even do your original stuff. So I think in any industry, there's trends that happen, and it's important to be someone that is like contextually aware of like how people are consuming them, how they're creating to them, and say, how can I put my unique spin on this?
For sure.
So anything else?
Let's see. I think. Sorry, you might need to cut this long thought out.
No. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I might put a sponsor space right
there
in here.
There you go. Perfect. I mean, the one thing that I think I've actually done a good job of that I'm going to say most people are not is just getting stuff out the door. Like,
yeah, you are good at that.
The biggest issue I see with people trying to be YouTubers in particular is I literally hear them saying, well, I'm not posting yet because I haven't figured out my intro. Who cares? Like, they want like this. I haven't put it. I didn't like the last video. The audio wasn't perfect in that one, so I'm not posting it. I didn't like the cameraman, so we're not posting it. We only had a tripod, so I'm not posting it. And so they have all these reasons why they're not posting it. I did one video a week by myself for a year. Then I had Jake, who was part of the channel for a long time. We were doing 3 videos a week. When Jake left, I kind of transitioned back to 2 a week this last year and a half or so, and I've missed 2 uploads the whole time.
Wow.
And it's like I am maybe that's to my detriment, but I've always been a believer of like 5 things fast is better than 1 thing perfect.
Dude, especially in today's internet.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, I'm now that I'm this size on YouTube, I'm trying to step it up. I think that's part of my issue right now. Like my viewership for my size on YouTube is low, and so part of that I think is that I'm moving maybe a little too fast, and I need to step it up. I need to level up. But especially when you're starting, just getting stuff out the door is so important. And one thing that helped us with that, when Jake and I were starting, Jake joined the channel when I was at like 20-something thousand subscribers. And we did 31 days to 31K. It was like the month of August, I think. And we're like, in the next 31 days, we're gonna get to 31,000 subscribers, posting every day. And we did 31 days in a row on YouTube, which is a great exercise for anyone trying to be a YouTuber. Like, force yourself to post something. We were doing fully edited challenge videos with graphics and scores and all that stuff, 31 days in a row. But like, just posting something 30 days in a row is a really good practice for anyone.
It is. So then when you tone it down to like 1 a week, you're like, man, this is super easy. Look at all this time I got.
Exactly.
Okay, well, 1 or 2 more questions here. You talked about having a Discord group of other TikTokers.
Yeah.
Tell me how, how has that like kind of helped your approach to creating content? And I don't know, like what I don't know. I don't even know what my question is, but can you talk a little bit about the importance of having like-minded individuals, like all kind of coming together for like one mission?
Sure. That Discord group in particular, it's not super active. I'm not super active in it, but I definitely have a group of YouTubers that I'm seeing on a regular basis. Well, YouTubers, TikTokers, creators in my world that I'm with on a very regular basis. My house often is the kind of headquarters where everyone meets out here, or we'll in person, or we'll find a park. Yeah, I would say we film in person probably 4 days a week or so, and we'll meet either here at my house or at a basketball court or whatever it is. And it might be a YouTube video, it might just be, hey, we're going to do TikToks and Instagram videos today, but having, there's kind of 5 of us, and like having 5 different platforms and being able to observe what works on each people, on everyone's on platforms makes us all better for sure.
And are they all individual creators with their own brands?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and I just find that just like having that circle, especially, for myself, I live in the suburbs of Philadelphia. There's not that many like people that are trying to do similar things that I am. So, I mean, I've been able to, virtually, create a strong core, like foundation of like people in front of the camera, behind the camera, create like people in the creator space that just like, you can ping one question, like, and that it's coming from a place of they've either experienced it or know enough about the industry. So, yeah, does working with all of these creators, does it make you guys all a little bit better at the craft, like being able to see them that consistently?
I think it definitely does. To be completely honest and transparent, it's like my kind of core group. Caleb is on my channel all the time. Jenna is on my channel all the time. Chris Staples is on my channel all the time. And Andrew is my editor. And Andrew's been doing YouTube for a long time, but those other 3, like, I literally was like, make a YouTube channel, like, start making YouTube videos. Here's how I do it. And so sometimes it's exhausting for me to kind of be the grandfather of it all. And they've all gotten very good and very independent.
Yeah, they're coming to you.
But it's tough. Like I often feel like I kind of need to find more mentors for me. Yeah. Not that I'm like some crazy high up successful YouTuber, but I have some of those people that I can go to, but not someone that I'm checking in with on a very regular basis.
Yeah,
and so that sometimes is exhausting. But I'm happy, I'm happy that they are all going, because my videos are only as good as the people that are in them. I can't do my channel on my own, so I'm happy to help all them because it benefits me as well.
Amazing. And so what is when it comes to having a successful career as a creator, what is one thing you believe that others might not agree with you on?
Oh, good question. Let me think about that. I mean, I think the thing I just said is definitely one thing. I think moving quickly and getting this stuff out the door. Some people argue it's kind of we talk about it, the Gary Vee approach versus the Mr. Beast approach.
Yeah.
Mr. Beast will say, don't post right now. He says, don't post until you have something great to post.
Yep.
Gary Vee and many others are 4,000 pieces of content a day. Yeah. Post.
Yeah.
I think the answer is probably finding a balance. It's probably getting to a level where you can your bandwidth and the quality of the content match up to where you can be putting out consistent, good content. Right now, I'm trying to have consistent, good content, and then, hey, how often can we hit instead of going for single, like where can we every once in a while try to shoot for a triple or a home run, to use that analogy, to where it's not, I feel like right now my channel is a little stagnant because everything is just kind of on par. Like I'm satisfying my fans, but I'm not going crazy viral. So I need to start stepping it up to where we can start to grow.
Got it. That's good, man. I appreciate that. And then, so you're talking about kind of the goals for the channel. In a year from today, what is one thing that you are most proud of, like a success that you've created in your brand a year from today, looking back?
It'll be 1 million subscribers on YouTube for sure.
Let's go.
That's something.
Let's
go.
Where are you at now?
740.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Let's go.
Definitely, but the last
challenging.
the last year and a half has been my slowest growth in a long time.
Yeah.
Some of those I've had 100K growth in 20 days, and the last 100K has I think taken over a year. It could happen a month from now. It could take me this whole next year. But I'm hoping in the next year for sure we'll get to 1 million.
1 million on YouTube, and you're at 2 million now on TikTok.
2 million on TikTok.
Yeah.
300 something on Instagram and Twitter.
Any more Guinness Book World Records?
I'm satisfied with my 19.
Okay.
Maybe someday we'll get it to the nice round 20, but
maybe when you get to 1 million, we'll think of something epic.
Maybe.
Cool, man. Yo, this was such a fun conversation. Where do we want to send our listeners to tune in and watch the content?
Let's go whatever your platform of choice. Type in Juggling Josh, and you'll find me.
Dude, I'm so jealous. You got the same handle across everything. That's amazing.
The only issue is I hate the handle, but we won't get into that.
Okay. Next conversation.
Yeah.
Yo, thank you for the time, brother. Have a great day.
Yep. See ya.